Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is Thursday. It's November the 4th, 2021. It's another Technical Alpha podcast. Glad you could join us today. If you're coming here live, much appreciated. If you're listening to this on YouTube or other places, we appreciate that as well. Got another great show lined up for you today. Although it's a scant news week, we'll make it happen. We'll make it work. And before we get to that point, though, Mr. Black, how was your week?
Was another week. That's actually one of those. We had,
Wow.
Halloween. So went out and did the trick-or-treating thing, but it was raining.
I saw the costume. The costume. Very good, very good.
Yeah. Outside of that, it's just been another week. Nothing
amazing.
Nothing crazy.
Yeah, it kind of not that I imagine, like, I don't even know if I didn't hear any kids or anything outside Halloween night. I don't know how many kids actually went out this year or whatever, but I didn't hear, like, anything. And we didn't even get, like, I think Mom and Dad might have had some just on the off chance, like, one or two came through, but we weren't set up for it or anything, and I wasn't hearing doors knocking or cars going by or anything, so, but you guys, did you guys just do, like, in your little pocket kind of deal in the neighborhood? Yeah.
That's it.
And it was kind of, I guess, good to a degree, because despite all the amazing weather we had, of course, Halloween still rained. It's just like classic Halifax. We've had this like 22-degree, middle of the freaking summer type weather, and then on the one day that any child would actually want it to, not be raining, lo and behold, we got rain. My week wasn't anything too crazy. We're just doing all the same here. We closed up the family home for the winter. Dad and I went down and did that. Since we finally hit the weather in which that needs to happen. That went without much of a snag, and outside of that, I got my review written for what's it called? Inscription. So that got written and recorded, and once Mark is no longer in the midst of crazy overtime, because as you might know, our government is currently just sitting in yelling at each other every day for like the last 10 days and running overtime, and Mark has to sit there and film all of that shit. So he's been there until late into the night, hating himself, but getting paid overtime, government overtime.
The best overtime.
So it's the best overtime. And yeah, other than that, not too much. Just been hating my life playing Warzone. I have the most. It's gotta be Stockholm syndrome at this point. But a few more weeks, and I'm hoping Halo saves me. I just need Halo to save me. Pray. I got that Smallville song in my head. The intro song to Smallville. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody save me. And that is just Halo. I just need Halo to get me the fuck away from Warzone. But yeah, anyway, that's it. So let's talk about some gaming news. First up, this popped off just not long before the podcast, but apparently Mr. DJ Wheat, after 10 years at Twitch, in his 22-year-long career in the esport and streaming business, he's been around a while, is going to be stepping away from Twitch for a break and from the industry in general. Sometime in 2022, he's mentioned in his Twitter thread that he's looking to, obviously, one, spend some more time with his family, number one thing on the to-do list, and two, looked like he wants to get back into doing some content creation of himself and just for himself, and enjoying himself just doing that and not having to do it under the pressure of making lots of money, because I have sneaking suspicion that DJ Weed is doing more than well enough for himself to not have to like run back into some other high-ranking job somewhere where he's working 90 hours a week. So all the best to Mr. Wheat. He's been around the block more than a few times. Certainly one of the longest holdouts at Twitch out of all the original folks that have been there. And yeah, all the best to him in whatever he does sometime next year. Also, with Twitch news, just about a day after, and we talked about this last week, where Twitch made that amazing decision to go live with the test for paying for exposure.
Mm.
The pay to exposure dream. After that happened last week, just after the podcast, or it was in the midst of the podcast, YouTube Gaming did the easiest PR move in the world. They swooped in and said, what a great time for us to announce our roadmap of shit for 2022. What a great time. Everyone's yelling at Twitch. Why don't we swoop in and post something positive? And so they did. And so the stuff that they had in that list included a very highly requested feature, of course. Gifted memberships are coming in 2022. Improved discoverability specifically for live streams is what they've been working on to put live next year. New editing tools, and this is probably the biggest one next to gifting memberships. New editing tools that includes clips that are taken for the stream immediately being turned into shorts. And shorts is one of the craziest discoverability metric pushing stuff on the platform right now. And so having clips immediately, which makes sense, immediately turned into shorts is a pretty potent combo for content creators on YouTube. And new moderation tools, and of course just general chat improvements. And chat is probably one of the things that people are still yelling at them about to try and make it a bit more of a friendly experience. But otherwise, it's a pretty solid list. And it didn't have to be very much, because when your competitor just comes out and says, hey, we're going to make people, or have people the option to pay for exposure, that's a softball.
Yeah.
In fact, that's T-ball. It's not even softball. That might be a softball on a tee. That's how easy that shit is to hit out of the park. But now, in fairness, they didn't say when in 2022 any of this shit was happening. They pulled a Cyberpunk sometime
between January and December. It's going down.
It's happening in the next calendar year, sometime in there. Speaking of Cyberpunk, coincidentally, unintentional segue, was the next thing on my list. Cyberpunk 2077 has another roadmap, quietly added, I might add, to a part of their website that somebody dug up. They just kind of happenstance came across it. And it's even more vague than the previous two, if you can imagine. Because the previous two were pretty vague. This one has gotten even more so. So it's a bit of an update to the previous two as well. So all you need to know about this, other than the fact that, yes, they did use blinding yellow yet again. They can't fucking retire that color. All you need to know is that nothing else is coming until 2022 minimum. That's it. There's nothing in 2021 coming. No holiday releases of anything. Wait until 2022. Super dead.
Yeah.
What's coming in 2022 doesn't have a timeline. It's just a nebulous.
Why is this even news? Man?
It's just a nebulous, because I like dunking on Cyberpunk. It's not really news. I like any opportunity.
Oh, okay.
It's like Star Citizen. Any opportunity. You know what? We haven't checked in. Maybe next week. Not this week, but next week we should check in on how much money.
How much money? Yeah.
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 It's been a while since we checked in. See how much more money.
It's been a while. It's been about 6 months, man. Probably been about 6 months.
That could be another $50 million, Jeff. 6 months. It's a long time. But yeah, there's not really a timeline. That's, so just take that for what you will. It's coming 2022, just like YouTube's features. January to December. Somewhere in that timeline. Blizzard announced a pipeline update that pushes the likes of Overwatch 2 and Diablo 4 back with an image posted that placed, so I saw you commented on this too, placed Call of Duty ahead of both of those titles, as well as, for whatever reason, at the very end of the list, Candy Crush was on this list. It was the most surreal fucking picture. Because for one, they were specifically talking about Overwatch 2 and Diablo 4. So why any of the rest of those were at the bottom of that image is fucking beyond me. But at the bottom, which again, this was an image that had text specific to Overwatch 2 and Diablo 4. The first image in the game list is Call of Duty.
Yep. The mighty has fallen, man.
And so on and so forth. So the only one of the awkward things is that apparently the Overwatch League stuff that's happening in the early parts of next year are going to be in part or wholly in Overwatch 2. So there's like an esports scene thing coming that is going to be taking place in a game that isn't even available to the general public yet.
Okay.
Good luck out there, Blizzard.
Godspeed,
Blizzard. You're doing your best. Also, speaking of good luck to Blizzard, not long after this announcement, it was also announced that Jen O'Neill has left Blizzard's co-leadership role, leaving Mike Ibarra as the remaining boss. So you'll remember we also talked about this back when they had their C-level shuffle a while back, and they put 2 people in at the top spot. And we were wondering, who's going to be the one to fall? Who's going to be the one that eventually takes over? You can't have that many cooks in the kitchen. Well, as it turns out, Jen O'Neill said, "Peace!
I'm out.
I'm out of here."
Deuces.
And so she did. And now we say, good luck, Mike Ibarra. Godspeed out there. You're going to need it. New World continues to struggle to plug leaks in their code. A gold duplication trick that surfaced, this is like some Diablo 2 shit. A gold duplication trick that surfaced late last week was patched. So like, oh, thank God, we finally patched it. And as it turns out, that patch just created a second gold duplication problem.
Great.
Again,
Wonderful.
Not news, I just like dunking on New World. It's just a fucking meme, that game. PUBG's parent company, Krafton, has picked up their 6th developer, buying Subnautica's creators Unknown Worlds. That's actually a real piece of news there. So they've got a few dev houses under their belt. That's an interesting pickup. Obviously, they're not looking to necessarily give them any particular direction, but it does mean possibly some more money for Unknown Worlds and their future titles. And, Subnautica is a pretty popular game, and so is the sequel. So this might allow them to spread their wings a little more, and their next title could be even better because of it. Or they could rush it out and it could be dog shit. We'll find out.
Probably what will happen.
Yeah, it's probably what will happen. It's probably if I was a betting man. Sega and Microsoft have announced a strategic alliance to create new titles for Sega in a next-gen environment, which is a really fancy way of saying they're working with Microsoft's Azure servers and systems for future titles, is kind of what this is really about. However, because Sega and Microsoft with the Xbox have had a bit of a relationship in the past, people are also kind of hoping right now and theorizing that this could also lead to more Sega titles that haven't been on Xbox as of late, like stuff from Atlas, like the Persona series, etc., to finally make their way onto the Xbox and by proxy the PC a bit faster than they have been. And of course, then there's people like me that keep buying lottery tickets in the hopes that Jet Set Radio Future will have a sequel before I'm dead. It's probably not going to happen, though.
No.
Man can dream. Battlefield 2042's NVIDIA RTX trailer dropped. They wanted to show off all the fancy lighting, Mr. Black. There was nothing else to show off, so they had to show off the fancy lighting at this point. So RTX on, and boy, did it ever fucking blow the performance out. So they're showing off this is being played on 3000 series graphics cards. Whoa, fucking big dick swing. And then in the middle of the trailer, it was like, 10 FPS. Don't turn RTX on in that game. Don't do it. It looks really good. I mean, it fucking looks fantastic. But here's the problem. 2 things. 1, you're not going to see any of your enemies because everyone else is playing that shit at the lowest possible settings for the exact reason to see absolutely everything as easily as possible. 2, even if you've got the biggest dick swing in the game, that shit is going to drop to like 20 FPS and you don't want any of that smoke. Just turn it on for taking some pictures. Turn that shit off immediately. Because if they can't even get the frame rate stable for a trailer, don't bother. Don't even fucking bother. In relation to Battlefield 2042, and also why this little piece of news was there, they're getting a 10-hour, or giving a 10-hour free trial on EA Play and Game Pass Ultimate. So, which is kind of necessary when you're charging full price for this game, and your beta went it went over as smoothly as 50 grit sandpaper, Mr. Black. It wasn't all that hot.
Yeah, that's not smooth.
That's not... I don't know if any of you out there have actually ever used 50 grit sandpaper, but it's basically, alright, so you take some rocks, and you attach it to duct tape. Yep. That's more or less 50 grit sandpaper is what you're looking at right there. Yeah, not so hot. They need ways to get people back in, and maybe this is their Hail Mary, is that the build they had for the beta was in fact like 2-3 months old, and then the launch code is like a minimum of 5 times better than it was for the beta. And then they rope enough people in with a free trial, and then they have a hope. But you know what's going to happen? This game's going to come out. It's not going to rope in enough people. Halo Infinite's going to drop for free, and this game is going to ride off into the sunset. RTX on, 15 frames per second. It's going to look real pretty, but they're riding off into the sunset. It's probably not going to be so hot. If they pull it off, it's going to be one of those things where they really need to grind it out for like a year, and then it turns into something a year from now. It's unlikely to be something right out of the gate. Here we go. Prediction for Mr. Black, because there's not a lot for you to talk about today in the gaming news segment.
Okay.
Prediction. Do you think Battlefield 2042 goes free to play in the first calendar year?
Oh, for sure. 100%.
How many months before this bitch is
I don't
free?
think they can do it too fast. I think it'll be holiday season of next year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So almost a full calendar year.
Yeah, because if they do it in like 3 months, there's gonna be a lot of pissed off people.
Yeah.
They just can't do that.
Yeah, somebody's sitting in headquarters and they've got a big red button that says free to play, and they're 3 months come by, they want to. It's there.
Yeah.
It's the smart decision, but you're gonna piss off a lot of people in the process. They've been crazy enough to drop the full price on it. Elden Ring. Oh no, sorry. We'll get to that here in a second. Here's a fun little piece of news, Mr. Black. Okay. After more than 2 decades, 24 years specifically, GoldenEye 007, the N64 game, has been unbanned in Germany. This has been banned in Germany for 24 years. It's a hell of a grudge.
Damn.
24 years. It's unbanned, which, of course, has people wondering if it's about to be re-released somewhere. Because the odds of the regulatory body in Germany randomly deciding to unban GoldenEye 007 after 24 years without a company going to them and saying, hey guys, we're thinking of maybe releasing, it's been 24 years, are we good now? Like, could we do this shit? And somebody was like, oh my god, I can't believe this was still, but yeah, sure, okay. And so people are wondering maybe Nintendo Switch's online thing where they've got their new N64, lineup and whatnot, if maybe that's where it could land.
Yep.
It just seems very serendipitous timing, not to mention a little random, to be happening like that. But there you go, 24 years. I didn't even know it was banned in Germany.
I didn't know it was banned anywhere.
Sucks for Germany. They missed out on one of like the best. I'm sure they fucking got that game in there. Yeah, they got that happened. Elden Ring. Now we can talk about Elden Ring. So they had a 15-minute or so gameplay showcase earlier today, Mr. Black. I watched that live. It's definitely, all I can say is that it's definitely looking like Dark Souls. And when I say that, I mean they've used a lot of Dark Souls assets, visually and audio. Lots of Dark Souls sound effects, lots of Dark Souls kind of like visual elements. And probably a few assets. It's not that the whole game is reused assets, and it's not that it's bad. It's intelligent to do that shit. It saves yourself a lot of time. You don't need to remodel absolutely everything, but it immediately gives you the feel of Dark Souls. The traversing of the map. If they called it a horse one more time, I was gonna fucking lose my mind because it was an ox the whole time. This bitch is riding an ox, and the guy that's voiceover is calling it a horse, and I was just screaming internally. But it was kind of cool, really fast. It's not like a thing where you're whistling and you wait for it. You whistle and it appears underneath of you, and you're just fucking off to the races. You got a magical fucking ox that you're riding, and it's quite agile. That bitch is jumping up cliffs, down cliffs, fucking yeeting itself off the edge of things, and it speeds up traversal pretty substantially. Other than that, the combat itself is very Dark Souls. They showed off a couple of boss-ish scenarios and a couple of enemy scenarios. Different weapons, some magic. A lot of the magic has been updated for sure. Looks really good. A lot of the special effects in the game look fantastic. The models and stuff themselves look good. They're not mind-blowing, but all the post-processing and special effects and stuff from the magic and whatnot looked really good. And a couple of the bosses they showed off at the end in a bit of a sizzler reel. The design of them was fucking fire. I mean, Dark Souls has always had good art and shit.
Yeah.
Like, their art team is fantastic. And there's some real winners in there, real bangers right off the rip. They talked a little bit about the co-op aspect. It's what we expected, so you can do co-op in the open world and travel together and do your thing that way if you want. There's also the invasion mechanic like we had in previous Dark Souls games as well, so if you're like invading somebody's world to fuck some shit up, that's still a thing. So it's very much they're just taking Dark Souls, expanding the online ever so slightly, and putting it in an open world is exactly what it is. Instead of a bonfire, it's, I can't remember what they call it, but it's that mechanic is still a thing. That's there. And they have the quintessential and never not there blind, soft-spoken, hooded girl to talk to. That's in every fucking Dark Souls game and Bloodborne and everything else. But yeah, it was it looks good. It certainly looks better than some of the leaked shit that we've seen previously. It's up in 4K, I think, now. The live stream was terrible. Like, it was the most pixelated fucking live stream I think I've seen in ages. But I want to go back and watch the 4K stuff, but I think it will be a very solid game indeed. And I imagine Twitch will be exploded with that shit when it drops for quite some time. And next prediction, Mr. Black. How long before somebody beats, after it releases, Elden Ring, how long before somebody beats it with a controller that isn't a regular controller or a keyboard? You know, the usual people out here beating it with like fucking Rock Band drums or like a fucking Guitar Hero guitar.
Oh.
How long before it happens?
Oh, it'll be pretty quick, I would imagine.
First 7 days, somebody's doing it?
No, I don't think first 7 days. I don't think first 7 days, but probably pretty quick. A couple months.
That shit's crazy, bro. Have you seen some of the shit people beat Dark Souls with? It gets like...
Yeah.
I saw motherfuckers hooking up electrodes to fruit. Like, and I feel so bad because I like struggle bust my ass through this, and somebody wakes up one morning and just said, you know what? I'm gonna beat Dark Souls with randomly assorted fruit objects.
Why not? Fuck it.
And they did. Yeah, you gonna play this? Do you think you're gonna hop into this one,
yeah,
or are you kind of?
I will definitely be buying this game for sure.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a good time. Although I will say this before we move on, I did get a little bit of PTSD watching one of the boss fights that they like showed off, because it looked so Dark Souls, and I was like, and you could see different phases, and I was just like, man, like I in my soul immediately felt like, oh, this is phase 3. I can just feel getting like one shot and raging, and just because we've got it all the way to fucking phase 3. This is like the 5th hour I've been on this boss. It was like I all of the memories coming like rushing back. It's the Dark Souls dream. What was the longest boss that you got stuck on in Dark Souls when you played them?
Dude, it's been so long since I've played like Dark Souls. I don't know. I probably spent a good 5-6 hours on a boss.
Some of them are fucking like, it's weird because some bosses it will take you forever, and then the next boss shows up and you just one and done, and it's like no problem. And when you're streaming it, some people are like, how'd you take so long on that boss? I did it in like one take. And then you do the same thing to a boss that took them forever to fucking beat, and then you just, it's a very odd experience. Reviews are coming in for Forza Horizon 5, Mr. Black. It's early release tomorrow. But so the reviews are starting to come through. If you pre-ordered it, I think you're getting it like 4 days or so early to play it. And after, I think it's 71 critics last time I checked now. It's the highest rated game of 2021. And so I swear to God, this motherfucker doesn't at least get a nomination for Game of the Year, because 4 got snubbed. There's some bullshit. I know it's a racing game, but a lot of people that aren't into racing games are going to play the shit out of this game.
I'm sorry, man, but racing game should never be Game of the Year. I'm sorry. It's just, it's like comic book movie winning Best Picture. You know, it's just.
But you know what's funny, when you look at like the top rate, some of the top rated games, it's like Forza Horizon 5, fucking Microsoft Flight Simulator. It's on that list. I think it's going to be Forza Horizon 5, Flight Simulator, Deathloop are my top 3 picks for likely Game of the Year candidates thus far. But yeah, it's sitting at a 91 overall right now after 71, which is 71 reviews, which is pretty good. And I am super excited to get my hands on that shit. And that's it for gaming.
Wow.
Not a lot going on this week.
All right.
You can wake up. It's time to sell some products, Mr. Black.
Hey, we got NordVPN. If you guys don't already have a VPN service, head on over to nordvpn.com/OTT. Use the promo code OTT. Get yourself 73% off plus 4 bonus months when you get a 2-year subscription. 30-day money-back guarantee. For whatever reason, it ain't doing it for you. Get your money back. No questions asked. Use up to 6 simultaneous devices. So you only need 1 account per household. Stay safe. Stay anonymous. Watch different regions of Netflix. All that fun stuff with NordVPN. Head on over there, guys. It's getting towards the end of the year. We need you guys to rally. It's that time. Pick it up if you've been on the fence, or if you got to renew, make sure to use that promo code OTT. It's that time. Plus, we've got Elgato. If you guys don't already got a face cam, it's their newest product with a webcam. It might actually not be their newest product now, but it's definitely the newest webcam on the market. And at the price point that it's at, you should not be running out to buy a DSLR camera unless you're planning to, take your camera outside and do some other stuff with it, which would be a pain to set up and reset up every single time you want to use it at your house. But this is the perfect webcam, not only for gaming, for streaming, for Skyping, for Discording, like Adam and I are doing right now, for everyday use, a USB plug and go. It's that easy with awesome software that you can make it look like a DSLR camera on a fraction of the cost. So make sure you guys go and check out Elgato. Link is in the description below. And last but most certainly not least, the most important piece, patreon.com/lagtv. Guys, it's time. It's time to dig deep into your wallets and your hearts. Throw it at the screen. Keep us in business. Keep the train flowing at patreon.com/lagtv. Shoutouts to those that are still going, still supporting. And if you can't afford it, it's okay. Go on YouTube. Hit the like button. Leave a comment. Share it with a friend. Go on Spotify, leave a review. Go on iTunes, leave a review. Get engaged, hang out, do your thing. And then when you get money, go to Patreon and then go there after that. All right? And that's it.
Now it's time for
Movies and TV.
The Witcher Season 2 trailer dropped. Looks like more Witcher.
It does.
Which is good. I mean, it's not bad. It's more Witcher.
I didn't even watch the season 2 trailer because I don't want to watch anything. I mean, I'm already sold on the show, right? I'm going to watch it when it comes out.
Yeah.
So
you don't need a reason. You're already there.
I'm already there.
Berserk Anime has a live action series in the works. That's going to be, I just have here in my notes, it's going to be a hell of a challenge. And all I can say is Godspeed, because if you've seen the reactions to the live action stuff for what's the one that's just Cowboy Bebop? A lot of people are you're very divisive on that one. People are either like, yes, this looks really awesome, or oh my god, what did you do? What's wrong with you? Fuck you, etc., etc. Berserk is Berserk is probably one of the few animes off the top of my head I can think of that would like supersede Cowboy Bebop in the anime mecha. So good luck to whoever takes on that project. God fucking speed. If you can do it well, it'll be fire. The odds of it being good, slim. But you never know. It could happen. You know what's probably going to be fire, though, Mr. Black?
What's that?
Book of Boba Fett. And we get a trailer for that as well. That popped off. I don't know if you saw it yet. I watched earlier today.
I did see it.
What were your thoughts? It doesn't sound like you think it's going to be fire. It sounds like somebody's a little wishy-washy over there, Mr. Black.
Man, I'm I think it's going to be fine, but I'm just like, I don't get excited about Star Wars anymore.
You a little burnt? A little burnt on the Star Wars?
I've been burnt on Star Wars, man. It's just, I don't know. Franchise is like bordering dead to me. I do like me some Mandalorian, and I'm sure the Book of Boba Fett is going to be similar in quality. But I don't know, man. I don't know about Star Wars. I'm kind of holding my breath for the next trilogy in hopes that it's better than the last. That can kind of hook me in, man. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think it's going to be really good. But I'm also like right on the edge of burnout for Star Wars. I watched some of the that's the
anime
7 anime ones or whatever, and there was a couple of really nice, well done episodes in there. But yeah, I think I'm a mixture of burned out and just fucking jaded with what they did with Star Wars in the sequel trilogy, and so it's like a weird combo. It's hard to get over because on one hand, you play that fucking Star Wars theme music, and I'm gonna get fucking like the insides. You get that rush. It's the Star Wars theme. It catches you. You got the emotion tied to it, and then you go, wait a minute, where are we going with this? And that's kind of how I feel about Star Wars as of late. So, I'll probably watch this at the very least.
Yeah, I will too. I'm just like, I'm not chomping at the bit to see it.
Yeah,
I'm just like, okay, we'll see.
And then we've got the Obi-Wan thing coming and something else as well, where Hayden Christensen's coming back to reprise his role. That dude he's aged a little bit, but he looks like he's the same size and weight as he was when he was Anakin the first time. He hasn't moved anywhere. He can just slip right back in. Off to the races. And to be fair to Ewan McGregor, I think same thing. So off to the races. Just to add fuel to the meme fire, new animated Garfield feature has casted Chris Pratt as the Orange Cat. This man's taking all the roles and people aren't ready for it yet. They're still getting over Mario, Mr. Black.
Yo, man, you know what I think? I think here's my speculation. I think Chris Pratt has got a baby on the way, man.
Oh, and he's about to dip for a few years?
I think he's got a baby on the way. This is my guess. I think he's got a baby on the way. He wants to be home. And he's going to be able to do his voiceover, all this voiceover work, either in a local studio close by or in his house. And this is why we're seeing him pick up so many voice acting gigs.
I can believe that. I think that's a good guess. I like the guess.
I mean, I don't know, but I'm guessing. Because he's got Guardians of the Galaxy, which I do believe they're filming like now. And the only other franchise he's in is Jurassic Park. I'm not sure what his dealio is with that right now, but I have a feeling that either he's got a baby on the way or they're planning to have a baby and he just wants to be home for about a year and do that. My guess. I could be wrong.
I think that's logical. I mean, why? I mean, taking the role as Garfield is like, given how the last few Garfield movies have been, it's a risky play. In all honesty, it's a risky play. You don't take that unless you have some very specific reasons. And either A, they're paying him a lot of money, which really, why are you spending any amount of money on a Garfield movie after Garfield has failed miserably pretty much every time? B, he's got a baby coming. And he's looking for some work that he can stay close to home. It's entirely possible. There are rumors circulating that Jim Carrey will be cast as Modok, I think that's how you pronounce that anyway, the iconic Marvel villain in the upcoming Disney Plus series. I think there's more than one in which they are looking to cast him apparently. That's like the friggin'
it's like
big head bro, like tiny body, big head, friggin' whatever. I can see it. Sure. Blow up Jim Carrey's face on a big head mode, put it on a little tiny body, and away you go. Why not? Okay. You know what he's going to deliver? He's going to deliver the Riddler. He's going to deliver some combination of the Riddler and Ace Ventura. And that's going to be what you're going to get. That's the way it goes. I mean, does it even matter who plays that character, given the characters, given who the character is? So I think one of the series was She-Hulk, I think, was one. And then I don't remember if the other one was listed, but She-Hulk was definitely one of them, because they listed one of the other actresses that were going to be in She-Hulk as well. No timeline that I saw on any of that, although there probably is some timelines floating around. But all the same, there you go. Jim Carrey getting in on his work. Making, I wouldn't call it a comeback, but he's working again.
He's working. So that's the main thing. I just can't get excited about Marvel shit.
For the same reason,
either, man. I'm just kind of, Endgame happened, and I will say I really enjoyed Shang-Chi or whatever it is.
Shang-Chi, yeah.
I don't know what the fuck, but that shit was fire. I'm hearing Internals is a hit for some people and a big miss for others. So. Yeah, I don't know.
That's been very divisive, and they haven't been doing a lot of marketing for the Eternals for a while that I've seen. They had a burst where they were marketing like crazy, and it's like they're pretending Eternals doesn't even exist anymore. So that tells you, I think, how it's performing probably at this time.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, but I don't know. I need a break from all this shit, man.
What do you want to watch right now, Mr. Blood? What is it you want to watch?
I want to watch another Dune movie, man. You know what? I saw Dune, and I'm at the point now where I just feel like I just feel like, it's kind of like the first time you just really had really, really good sushi, and then you realize that, like,
all other sushi is ruined.
Yeah, it's just like, you can't really eat that really good of a sushi every day, because it's too much. It's too much of a good thing.
Yeah, you gotta spread it out.
But it's made me realize that, like, the majority of other movies that I've been watching lately are just like hot garbage in comparison. I feel like I've had an experience. I feel like I've watched film again for the first time in a very long time. And I like that. So I just want more Dune in my life, or something similar. My level of movie loving has kind of evolved over this last couple of years, since I haven't been to the theater as much, where I'm watching more shit at home, and I'm just enjoying non-blockbusters as much. And it's starting to change my taste. I mean, Dune's a blockbuster, but it's not at the same time. So I just want more of that in my life. I want more boring movies that make me think.
Well, we've had so much, like, big energy, bombastic, Marvel and Star Wars, and we've still got more coming, but that stuff's just like, we had like this major run of everything was high energy, action, combat, crazy, over the top kind of stuff. And so every once in a while, you got to have a palate cleanser, you got to get in, slow it down, a little bit more cerebral, actually think about what's going on in the movie, and not just be constantly action-packed all the time. You only need so many, Hans Zimmer air horns. You only need so many of those. Selma Hayek's Hot Ones episode went up. I have to watch that. I watched your longtime celebrity girl crush was on.
Well, no, that wasn't my. That's not my celebrity. That's not my celebrity.
Wasn't that one? Wasn't she one of them though?
No, I mean, I don't mind. What's her name? Kunis, right? Ash Kutcher's wife from the '70s show. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. Mila Kunis.
Mila Kunis. I like her. She's not a celebrity crush. My celebrity crush was Rachel Bilson.
Oh, right. California.
Who, by the way, Hayden Christensen's, that's his wife. Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah.
Well done, Hayden Christensen. Won her over with that Academy Award-winning portrayal. 98% of that got cut out for peeking your microphone. What an angsty show that was. Holy shit.
So angsty. I've watched it a few times. Still
there
holds.
is no more angst. Like, that is the angstiest of all of them. Like, there was a lot of angst at that time, that generation. Lots of angst everywhere. That was the peak angst.
She hasn't been in anything since 2019.
Damn.
Yeah, she's just chilling, man.
Mila Kunis did hers, and she accidentally leaked that Selma was doing Hot Ones because they had recorded it and she knew, but the order in which they were releasing hers was coming first, and so Sean was like, "Thank you for letting everyone know, but yes, Selma, I don't think it's actually gone up yet." So that's up now. So that's probably to promote Eternals, and so I'll watch that. Selma Hayek's hilarious. Em and I just watched not too long ago the Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard, the sequel.
Yeah, I haven't seen that yet.
It was funny. You should watch it. It was good.
Oh, so first and foremost, Salma. All right, she is
aging like a god,
like a goddess.
Yeah.
All right, and she is the smoke show from dusk till dawn. You know, she's the big.
She's the
big stripper or whatever, right? But I listen. Me and Kayla, we got a bone to pick with you, man.
With me?
Yeah, with you. We got a bone to pick.
Oh, right. God. Okay. All right. That sounds dangerous.
Last night.
Okay.
We're laying in bed.
Uh-oh.
Okay. I had I've been drinking these THC drinks the last couple nights trying to sleep, man. I can't sleep, man. I can't sleep for long periods. I've been waking up like
you need more boring movies.
I've been waking up 2-3 in the morning for like 2-3 hours, man. It's just killing me. Like it's just murder. It's just murdering me. So I've been drinking these THC drinks there, which, you know, last couple nights have been like some of the best sleep I've had in a while. So
there you go.
But anyway, I'm laying down. We're laying in bed. And I'm like, okay, I'm trying to stay up a little bit later so that I can sleep maybe a little bit throughout the night. So I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm going to throw this shit on. We're all done with our shows. And I said, you know what? Adam talked a big game. So I'm going to go ahead and do it.
Oh, no.
And I put on Bo Burnham's Inside. You
fucking washed all your shit and you used that to wind down to fucking sleep with some THC?
So listen. Listen, bro. That shit was so bad. Kayla, it got to the point where it literally got to the point where in my mind I was waiting for Kayla to go, shut this fucking shit off. And then eventually she looked at me and she was like, what the fuck are we watching? I said, Adam said this was good. I didn't think it was going to be that good, but I thought Adam was good. I thought this was going to be good. Bro, it just wasn't for us, man. It just wasn't our
That's not
cup of
shocking.
Tea. It's not our cup of tea. This is what I'll say.
You didn't so you didn't find any of the songs, like not from a musical perspective, but you didn't find any of it like relatively intelligent.
I enjoyed. I had a couple of chuckles. I don't know if it was because I was starting to get a little high, or it was, you know, there was.
I really didn't laugh. I didn't personally laugh that much when I watched it. I did because I like at all. I wasn't really laughing at it.
Neither was I.
Yeah.
But there was one about like a white woman's Instagram song. I thought
that was a little funny.
I thought that was funny.
It's pretty accurate.
I thought the idea. This is what I'll say about the special. All right. The comedy, it's not for me. It's very white. It's very white comedy.
He says specific. He calls himself out for it in the special. Yeah,
I know. He's very self-aware of what he's doing.
He knows what he's about.
And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with white comedy, because there are several white comedians that I really enjoy. But this is like really, really white, right? Like it's
it's white.
Yeah. And I definitely kind of move over more towards the urban jokes and feel. But I will say this. It was extremely artistic. And
Yeah.
from a standpoint of the content that he was making and how self-aware and meta he was about the things he was doing, and the camera angles and the lighting, and the different sets that he made in his own house during the lockdown, it was bordering genius. Like, it was like, as a content creator, I was in awe of what he was accomplishing by himself. That was the most impressive part. You know, you could do a study on what he was doing. That was impressive. The jokes, though, the songs, I found the vast majority of it very corny, very Weird Al, and he even in there has things about Weird Al, like he's that self-aware. But I think it was so on the nose that it just didn't do it for me. But I will say 10 out of 10 for creativity. The most creative comedy special I think I have ever seen, ever. And for that in itself, it deserves a good rating. But the jokes is not for me. If somebody digs this dude's comedy and loves his style of songs that he does, and it's very, like, you know, juvenile, you're gonna fucking eat this up, because, like, it's perfect in that aspect. But I don't know, I was wishing that there was just more talking comedy and not just song after song. It's like watching a musical, but just one that just didn't resonate with me. So I'm not a complete hater, but I didn't like it. We turned it off.
Yeah, I didn't expect, obviously, and he knows his audience too, right? Like, and like you said, he's very self-aware, and that's kind of been his comedy forever. I think that whether he intentionally did it or not, and probably did, because like you said, he very much really constructed this whole thing. He's so self-aware that everything he did, even if it seems like it was a mistake, he did that intentionally throughout the entire special. And I think calling it a comedy special was kind of it's not a comedy. I don't consider it a comedy special. I consider it more just like a...
Dude, it's content, man. It's funny.
It's like super meta content.
Yeah.
And it's like if you took a privileged white kid that has an unimaginable amount of like creative talent, which like you said, I mean, I was mind fucked watching all that he accomplished with like 2 DSLRs and like a light strip.
Impressive. It's impressive.
It's like super impressive. He's kind of like a white Dave Chappelle. So Dave Chappelle talks about... okay, hold on.
No, don't do that to me.
Hold on. This is why. I'm not saying I'm putting them on the same level. And he wouldn't put himself on the same level as Dave Chappelle either. I'm not trying to say that he's on the same level. But what I mean is, Dave Chappelle's comedy has evolved to the point where Dave Chappelle's barely even doing comedy. He's doing social commentary of the black experience. That he is good enough of wielding stories with that black experience into things that make people laugh. That's Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle's early stuff was a lot more, it was the black experience, but it was also, it was how many dick jokes and like whatever can I get into a comedy special? Like the ones that we laughed at when we were kids, like the fucking homeless dude on the bus, like jerking off and like firing fucking cum shots into people's eyes. Like that was like Dave Chappelle's early shit, and it was the black experience. Now he's come to the point where Dave does a comedy special in quotation marks, and it's really just Dave going up and talking about the world and loosely throwing some jokes together within his stories that are funny in a, oh my god, this is the world we live in kind of way. And the reason why I say that Bo Burnham is similar is that for the white experience, which like you said, it's titanium white, with as much H as you can get into white as humanly possible, and he knows it. He's talking about the white experience, and a lot of the premise of it was, what the fuck is the white experience? And like part of the themes that he went through in that special were that was just what the fuck is the white experience, and then his referential bits on depression and whatnot, along with the lockdown and whatnot that went on there. But so you stopped it. I'm wondering where you stopped it, like which songs you ended up hearing.
I was pretty far in. I mean, I think the special was like an hour and a half, and I think we probably called it at like, close to an hour in. I was just like, I just can't, I can't do this anymore. It's just too much. So, and there's no way it was being redeemed. It was just like by 30 minutes in, I knew exactly the type of comedy special this was, and like I said, I respected it, but that wasn't it for me.
So, did you like any of the songs at all from like a musician's perspective? Like All Eyes on Me, I thought some of the fucking like musical parts in some of these songs were fucking really good.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, look, the guy is talented, but it was like once you heard a song, you heard them all. Like it was there wasn't a huge range of emotion. He's got like, he's not a singer, but he can sing, but he knows like his range, and he does well in that range. So yeah, I mean, listen, the songs were crafted in a way that it was smart. It was smart songwriting. But it just didn't do it for me. It just wasn't funny.
No, well, like some of these songs aren't even comedy songs. All Eyes on Me is not a comedy song. That Funny Feeling is not a comedy song. White Woman's Instagram is a comedy song. Obviously, the Bezos 1 and 2, it's comedy. Yeah. That shit got stuck in my head so bad that I'll randomly sing it on stream sometimes, the Jeff Bezos shit. And Jeffrey Bezos. Like fuck their wives, drink their blood. Come on, Jeff, do it! And then you like those fucking keyboard rip. It's like some fucking crazy shit.
It's not it for me.
It's just like so. I only laughed. The things that I laughed at in that were like White Woman's Instagram, in the sense that it's not exactly like
I was laughing more at
highbrow humor.
I was laughing not at the song,
but it was actually
imagery,
accurate.
like the stuff that he put up there. It was it was so. What you see, like he did a nice bit about brands and stuff, and it was almost like he was like that Apple employee talking about the brand.
That was kind of funny.
It was smart stuff. It's just
not your bag. I get it.
It's not my bag, man. It's not my bag.
I get it. I'm like there, which like for and everyone has like their range of comedy. I've thanks to like being friends with you from a young age, I got a lot of like black comedians introduced. I'd already had black comedians introduced like before you and I met, just because of, oh my God, this camera does not want to fucking stay here. Doesn't really matter, I guess, at the end of the day. But like I got such a broad range. I love so much fucking comedy. I love anything from the white of British comedy all the way through to like Richard Pryor. Like I'll watch damn near anything. Like there are some that I've never found like super funny. But almost any of it I'll find funny in some way, shape, or form, which is probably one of the few things keeping me sane in this life, is that I still have the ability to laugh at almost fucking anything. But there you go. Well, you gave it a shot. I'm impressed. I'm impressed you even thought about it. Did you just like did it randomly like show up in your list and you were like, oh wait.
No,
I've been
meaning to watch it, and we've just been constantly watching this or that or this, and we're not in the middle of any shows. So I was like, you know what? Like, I had a little bit of this weed drink. Maybe I'll find it a little bit more funny. And then I started having the giggles, but I think it was more of like me getting a bit high and then realizing like Kayla was hating it. So I found it a little bit funny that she didn't like it. And, and it was just funny, man. It was funny. So,
anyway, my goodness, there you go.
There it is.
But yeah, it's true. It's true though. Fucking crazy. If you're a content creator and you watch it, you almost feel bad about yourself, because like no matter how creative you think, like the most creative part of your like content creation life, and then you watch Bo Burnham's Inside and you go, fuck.
Oh yeah, no, it was creative as fuck. For sure.
That's crazy. Yeah. That's all. I've got. Did you have anything on your side?
No, man, that's it.
Yeah, we didn't watch too much else. We just watched that Hitman's Wife. But that one, I can promise you, if you like the first one,
I'm gonna like it. Yeah.
You're gonna like that one.
Yeah.
That one's an easy. That's an easy one.
I have to be in a certain type of mood to like watch a Ryan Reynolds movie. Like,
Yes.
I want to have to, like, the thing is with Ryan Reynolds, he doesn't really make me laugh unless I'm in a mood to want to laugh. Like, I got to be in this mood of like, you know, I just want a good laugh. And then Ryan just hits, like his comedy just hits me and I have a great time. If I'm in a state of mind where I'm just like, I don't really feel like a comedy, I just can't watch Ryan Reynolds because then I'm just like, oh my God, buddy, just, you know, shut it down. Like, bring it down a bit. So
because he just goes, right? There's no breaks,
man. Yeah, he just goes. Like, I mean, it's hard. It's hard to like see a scene where he's being serious, you know. And
like
he does have
most humor goes on like a little bit of a dip and a pit. Like, you know, they'll make you feel a little something, and then they'll make you laugh, and then they'll bring you back down. Ryan Reynolds, the movie starts, and he just goes straight to the top, and he stays there, and he doesn't leave.
And that's okay. I just got to be in the mood for that, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Kevin Hart movie, you know. I got to be in a Kevin Hart type mood, you know. And Ryan Reynolds is kind of the same way. And I just,
absolutely.
As soon as I get that mood, I'm in. I'm not
entirely sure I've been in a Kevin Hart mood yet. He's one of the few comedians that I've watched some stuff, and I've laughed a few times, but he's like one of the few that I can't quite get 100% behind. And then that's like one of the few. That, and what's that group that did remember the bunch of like fucking like not, maybe you wouldn't remember because you wouldn't watch it either, and it was even too white and weird for me. Remember when there was that big group, there was like the 3 or 4 of them, and they were like the redneck, you might be a redneck if guys. And he hosted Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? Like the leader of that group did that show for a bit. Oh, what was their comedy name? Oh, shit. But even that, like, that was probably one of the other ones I wasn't a big fan of. But anyway, doesn't really matter. That's all we got for that, which means it's time to move on to
tech support.
Patreon.com/LangTV, $10 or more. Yeah, Jeff Foxworthy and that whole group. Do you remember that whole group? Because he was, like, fucking all over the place, hosting shows and shit. Yeah, Blue Collar Comedy Tour.
Oh, yeah. Is that with, like, the Larry?
That guy.
I'm not a big fan of all that, you know, redneck humor. It just doesn't do it for me.
That didn't do it. There was the one guy in there that he always had like whiskey in his hand or some shit. It was probably the funniest of the 3. But
I found the funniest guy was the tranquil. What do they call that dude? The tranquilist or whatever the fuck they do with
ventriloquist dude. Oh, Jeff. Do you think of Jeff Dunham? That's a different. He's not in that group.
I thought he was in that group. I thought he was like part of that whole umbrella.
Jeff Dunham. No, Jeff Dunham. But I mean, I can get why those would be. Jeff Dunham was like something that you watch his stuff once and you can never watch it again. You'll get laughs, but you can never see any of his shit ever again because it won't land.
I don't like his stuff now, but when I was young, younger, and he had a couple of funny skits.
Yeah, it was kind of funny, yeah.
But now I would just cringe the whole way through. I couldn't watch that shit now.
Yeah, it's power cringe for sure now.
Yeah.
$10 or more a month. Get a couple of perks. Chiefly, you can ask us questions on a segment we call Tech Support. At the end of every podcast, we answer as many of those as we can, the time that we got, which today, a decent amount of time, but we also don't have a lot of questions. It's going to be a short one today, boys and girls.
Okay.
I think we've answered that one before. Oh, this is right. And you didn't answer this one, I think, because it was this week. Mark Furry, in the spirit of Jeff's Dreamcast purchase, you picked yourself up a Dreamcast cabinet in the last week.
I did.
What is something you could normally only find in an arcade or theme park that you'd like to have in your home?
Dance Dance Revolution machine. That's it, man. And I'm talking the real fucking deal.
Yeah.
I don't want no,
not the half-assed one.
Yeah, I want the real fucking deal.
Yeah, you want the one with the grip bars at the back that are like you could hold the truck on.
Yes, I'm telling you right now, if one of those comes up locally and it's in good working condition, I'm buying it immediately.
Man, I don't know. I would say for me, couple of things. And we answered this kind of in I think at some point we talked about our favorite arcade choices a couple podcasts ago. One would be Time Crisis or something similar like that, like a shooting gallery type deal. There's a few different shooting gallery games that are fun. Cruising would be another fun one to have, for sure. You need a lot of space for that bitch, but if you got space for Dance Dance, you got space for cruising. And then you know what? Just for the meme, bro, because every time it's there, it doesn't matter how you feel, what shape you're in, you got to give it a rip. It's the punching bag.
Yeah.
You got everyone has to go and test their might. It's like some fucking some Mortal Kombat type shit. Just go up there and give it a whack, see if you break your wrist in the process. But
or punch plastic, one of the two. You'll do one of the two.
You'll hit something. And if you, but you're not fucking your wrist up. You're breaking your hand if you punch the back of that machine.
Yeah,
100%. There are so many videos online of people fucking that shit up. You ever seen any of that stuff?
I've seen them. I've seen
whiffing entirely, just punching the person next to them, just fucking cracking them. Dandrum. Oh boy, here we go. He's still got consoles to go. He's got consoles to spare. Top 3 PS2 games. Fuck.
Okay, PS2 games, top 3. I'm gonna go with Final Fantasy X.
That's in mine as well. Gran Turismo 3 A-Spec. Grand Theft Auto Vice City.
Yeah, I'll go Vice City as well. Oh man. I'll go with Silent Hill. And I'll go with Silent Hill 2.
Yeah, because there's Silent Hill 2, there's Shadow of the Colossus, there's all sorts of really good PS2 games. I went with games that we never fucking talk about.
Oh,
because I could have just as easily said Shadow of the Colossus and you know whatnot, but we talk about them so much. Decided to mix it up a little bit. There's so many good PS2 games. It's crazy. But yeah, I mean Silent Hill 2 is a banger.
It is.
It's a fucking banger.
Man, Final Fantasy X's fire. It might actually be my favorite PS2 game ever.
It's pretty fucking fun. The laughing thing, they could probably remove that scene.
Yeah.
That hurt to watch.
I remember as a teenager been playing that game, that shit was fire.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if it holds up today. I'm never gonna play it again to find out.
You don't want to ruin it.
Yeah, no, but yeah, it was good.
Jorbach, what is the stupidest pumpkin spice flavored product you've ever seen so far? He said, I just tried some pumpkin spice potato chips, and I want to punch whoever came up with those right in the colon.
I just tried. I got Kayla a pumpkin spice blizzard at Dairy Queen.
Okay.
And it had it was called. I think it's called like a pumpkin spice sea salt blizzard. It wasn't good. Like, even Kayla didn't eat it. She was like, are you going to be offended if I don't eat this? I'm like, no, I tried it too. This ain't it.
Man, pumpkin spice Oreos look pretty fucking terrible. I've also seen pumpkin spice Cheerios, I think, at some point.
Stop with the pumpkin spice, man. Just stop.
There's some crazy shit out there. Henry Chessmore, do you prefer salt and pepper pre-ground or from a grinder?
Oh, from a grinder.
On both?
Every time. Both. I got both. Salt
yeah,
and
I
pepper
do.
grinding.
I do. We've got like just sea salt, loose sea salt in a shaker. I'm good with or kosher salt. If you want to get more salt on your tongue but not use as much salt, kosher salt's good for that. Otherwise, I use like sea salt in a shaker all day. We got, I can't remember like the brand, but it's like, you know, that blue cylinder one that's been here since before our lives. But pepper I prefer cracked every time. Any application doesn't matter. When I was growing up, it was exclusively table pepper. And then at some point it turned into, we bought a grinder and it was all over. So it was all downhill from there.
Yep. I'm with you.
Dr. Samurai, Jeff, but also Adam, did you ever consider using your properties for Airbnb instead of long-term rentals? Have either of you ever hosted an Airbnb? If so, any advice? We considered turning our family place eventually down the road, should we keep it, and use part of the property for Airbnb stuff in the future, because we have a high speed out there now, Mr. Black. High speed internet.
Wow.
And part of the property overlooks some water, so we could maybe wheel and deal some Airbnb stuff there for sure. But Airbnb that's a competitive market. Have you ever thought about your any properties for you for that purpose?
For me, no. Like, you can make a lot more money if you're investing in real estate and you're trying to decide, like, do I want to do long term tenancy, like, yearly leases, or do we want to do Airbnb? You're gonna make between 25 and 40% more a month in gross rents, or I guess profit, than what you will on your standard, cap, so to speak. It also depends on your location and the area you're in terms of, like, what's nearby. If you've got a property that is a 5-10 minute drive from a big theme park or a well-known beach or whatever, you might even be able to get even higher Airbnb rates, like ridiculously good rates for people that just want to go and experience that for a weekend or whatever. Like, you could make in 3 or 4 days what you would make in a month from rent, like from a normal rent. So that
location definitely is like all real estate's location, but Airbnb is like,
yeah, I mean, it's a big part
really
of it. Like,
location for sure.
I mean, I have friends that only do Airbnb in the real estate world, and they make a lot more money, but it's much more risky. And the biggest issue is a lot of people are buying properties. For one, there's regulatory issues for tons of places. So you really got to know your shit.
That mark keeps moving too. Like, the places are changing all the time.
Yeah, it's kind of all over the place. But for the most part, like, you're fine. But the biggest issue is a lot of people buy rental properties and they analyze the place as an Airbnb, and I would highly suggest to analyze it as an Airbnb, but also analyze it as a long-term rental, because if for whatever reason in your area Airbnb decides to no longer be a service, or something like COVID happens where people aren't traveling, and if you need to turn that into a long-term rental, you want to make sure that you're still above water, because that's when you can get in a lot of trouble. And there's a lot of people that are buying properties thinking they're going to be making $3,000 a month from Airbnb, but next thing you know, they have to rent it out at $1,200 a month, and now they're underwater because they overpaid for a property thinking that they're going to get the profits of Airbnb. So that's where a lot of people got in trouble over COVID. And most of the people that lost their properties had to sell they were designed to be Airbnb. The other thing is Airbnb is, you're running a business. Like, you're running a business no matter what. Like, even if you're long-term rentals, like, it's a business, but you are running a active business all the time. So, like, you got to have cleaners that go in and do their things. You got to advertise correctly. You got to get those reviews. You got to make sure that there's things like internet available, and making sure people have access to get in and out properly. And you got to deal with issues. People also run down Airbnbs because they treat it like a hotel. So a lot of times people are just going there, partying, getting crazy. Now, there are Airbnbs where people like to travel to a location and live there for a month or two, and that's great. But it's much more active. So I personally don't have any. It isn't something I'm interested in doing right now. Maybe down the road when I have a bit more free time on my hands, I'm able to be a little bit more hands-on, possibly. But I'm a big investor in Airbnb. It's not financial advice, by the way, but it is one of the stocks that I do buy monthly, because I think they're going to be a $1 trillion company eventually. But I don't host. So there's that.
Yeah, it's like if you talk to anyone that runs a successful Airbnb, they could only have one property and they're on that shit full time. And it's because like the turnover is frequent, right? You got people coming in and out. It's not like you're changing tenants once a year or once every several months. It's like you're trying to get that shit full so that it's almost got somebody in it nearly all the time or as often as possible. And that's a lot of extra work. It's not quite the same thing as having just your regular tenants, but also obviously the upside to that is if you've got the right place and you do well, you're going to make a lot more money than if you were doing traditional renting. Is the zoning here, do you know, in the city different for Airbnb versus long-term rentals, or do they have that like separated yet?
There's
or is
Airbnb
it like the same
here. There's Airbnb here.
No, but do you know, is there different, like, do you have to have the property zoned differently for Airbnb or
No.
rentals? Same thing?
No. Yeah.
Okay.
The zoning is only,
Like commercial?
well, zoning is more to do with, if you have a legal, if it's R2, if you have a legal duplex or triplex or quad or whatever, right? That's where the zoning really matters. When it comes to Airbnb, you can set up an Airbnb. You can rent out rooms. With Airbnb, you can virtually do anything. Most of the times, people just have a house, or a cottage. Like cottage Airbnbs are pretty big here. So like if you, for example, probably your grandmother's house, right? Like that is probably like the best case scenario to like get in because you're out in the sticks. You're likely going to have clientele that are going to treat the place with respect. You're probably not going to get a bunch of, teenagers.
They're not going out there partying.
They're not going
crazy,
out there to fucking partying, right? You're going to get older clientele that's going to take care of the place, sort of enjoy the heritage of the area and stuff.
You get a lot of outdoorsy people out there, rock climbers and shit like that. They're not the people that are going to fucking destroy your property and all that nonsense, but
yeah. And it's one of those things that, like, if you rented the place out for 7 days out of the month, right, it'll just pay for the place.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't. It's not like you need to run it into turn into a business where 30 days a month you're trying to get people in and out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever.
Super Combi Guru, you guys have been granted the authority from the powers that be to make the next statutory holiday. What is the name of Canada's new holiday and what month is it in?
A holiday?
I'm
gonna go with National Sushi Day.
What month is it in?
It's gonna be in May.
It's gonna be May.
It's gonna be May.
Let me see here. Let's go with you know what? It's only like we can't claim them in its entirety, but it's like one of those things where we're just going to claim them anyway. For the purposes of this. It's National Keanu Reeves Day. It's in September. We'll just make it his birthday. Everyone gets the day off on Keanu Reeves' birthday. September 2nd, by the way.
It's a good holiday.
I think that's a good time of the year. Just, just before the kids go back to school.
Mm-hmm.
National Keanu Reeves Day.
I like it.
He's a three-way nationality on that. American, British, and Canadian.
There you go, man. He's got a house in each country.
So we'll just make it a national Keanu Reeves in all three locations.
Make it
easy.
Global. Fuck it.
Global Keanu Reeves Day.
Why not? Just celebrate the genius that is Keanu Reeves. Take the day off, watch Keanu movies. I mean, that sounds like a good time.
That sounds like a great time.
It sounds like a damn good time, man.
It does.
You got to be nice to someone. You know,
be excellent to each other, I think is the right terminology.
There it is. Just be excellent to each other, just for today.
Mr. Miyagi stuck in a few questions, and we can't say no to Mr. Miyagi, Mr. Black. Got to answer a couple of these. Mr. Miyagi's first question: what is a dream you've yet to achieve that you think you could within or could be within reach by the end of your life? So something you haven't achieved yet that you think you could reach by the end of your life.
Financial freedom.
I'm not hitting that by the end of my life. I'm not even putting that in my dream category. But I will say, learn another language. I do want to do that at some point. And I do think that that is achievable by the end of this lifetime. That next question is no, Mr. Miyagi. What the fuck is that? What is one domestic life skill you should have down that you still suck at?
Cooking.
I can't iron my clothes for shit. And it's like the one thing that if like a guy for like business attire, you need to be able to iron your shit. And I can't iron my shit. I can do literally anything else domestic, but iron.
Listen. The only thing you need in life is a wife.
A wife that's willing to do literally everything for you?
Well, at least all the ironing, at least. I haven't ironed shit. In fact, I think the last time I tried to iron something, Kayla said, "Give me that fucking thing. Let me do that, because whatever you're doing, that ain't it. That ain't it." So I said, "Okay, here you go."
Yeah, it's like the one fucking thing. I can't fucking do it. And a lot of it's because I don't have enough practice. Like, I just never had to do it enough. And the times where I've had to do it, they were so important that was not the time to learn how to iron. You learn how to iron another day. And so it just never happened. In fact, when I went down for my buddy's wedding in California just before the end of the world a couple years ago, one of the guys there, thankfully, knew how to iron. Nobody else did. So he ironed everyone's shit.
Damn.
Did a good job of it, too. Last question comes in once again, Mr. Miyagi. Who do you currently look up to? Shaquille O'Neal. Physically. Other than that, it's just got to be my parents. I just got to keep it 100. My parents have been absolute soldiers through the entire pandemic, taking care of my grandmother and making that shit happen, and they're not young anymore either. And they have, without complaining, without arguing, without missing a beat, have continued to make all of that happen while juggling the passing of my other grandmother and all the shit that happened last year, and have not missed a single beat. Not to mention, of course, I think my parents are, especially my father, although it's not like my mother's a slouch, is a nearly unobtainable level of fucking human that I don't even know how the fuck I'm ever going to be able to get there. And I'm running out of time because I'm 33 now. I got to start putting the foot to the floor on that bitch. But yeah, I'm going to go with mom and dad on that. I could not do what my mom does. I couldn't, straight up. Maybe I could, and it's just a situation where, you know, you have to, because life puts it in front of you and there is no other option, so you just do it. But, you know, I go up, I do my part when I can. If dad's back, thrown out a couple times. I'm picking Nana up and out of bed and, you know, putting her on the commode and shit. And mom's in there every single day, bathing her, cooking for her, doing everything, making it happen, all of her medication. She's basically a certified nurse at this point. And dad is right there every day. There's, you know, Nana's up 2-3 times a night sometimes. So they're sleeping for like 2 hours at a time. It's basically like having a toddler all over again. And because we're in a province where we just don't have any beds for somebody like my grandmother because she needs too much one-on-one care and we just don't have the nurses. It's just a situation that we're in, but you'll never hear a complaint coming out of my mom's mouth. Not once, or dad's. So I'm gonna go with my mom and dad on that one.
Good pick. I don't have one.
Not even Dwayne. Not even Dwayne. The I'm selling my energy drink Johnson.
No, not even Dwayne Energy Drink Johnson. I mean, I'm trying to think while you were going.
I tried to give you some time on that one.
Yeah, and trust me, I was thinking. I just I don't really look up to anybody. Yeah, I don't put people on a pedestal. Never really did. I can appreciate. I take things from people in terms of like, they motivate. Certain people motivate me in certain areas. Like I could name drop my old man, or other.
Well, nobody's
other,
perfect. There's always going
Yeah.
to be aspects of somebody that you can't. You're looking up to them. You're not like idolizing them necessarily.
but I mean, like I don't like when the question is asked, like, who do you look up to? I don't. I don't like. When I was younger, yeah, I looked up to my dad. I want to be like my dad. But then, I kind of grew into my own person, and I kind of got the good qualities of my dad. I like to think I implemented, and now I don't necessarily look up to him as like a benchmark of any specific thing. I love my dad. I love my mom, but I don't really. I don't know. I know it kind of sounds. I'm not. I'm just not a liar, so I can't say I look up to this person or that person. I just don't. Yeah.
So you don't. So not in like a role model sense, but who do you obviously have to have like some people that you hold in higher regard than others because they, because we're not. You and I aren't old enough to have like mastered much of any craft, and so there's always going to be somebody that's hit a higher peak than you that you appreciate, that you're striving to work towards that level of.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I mean those things. Like I mean, yeah, there are tons of different people in business. There are people in real estate that I don't want to say look up to, but I strive to achieve what they have achieved. I guess that's a form of looking up to, but the person, it's not really the person, it's the achievement that I don't know. That's kind of a tough one, and it's kind of a deep question that I would need time to really think about instead of being put on the spot. But yeah, I mean the easy answers would be like, like my dad or my grandfather, certain people that's been through some shit, that's seen some shit and are still like trucking along and doing it. Like I don't necessarily looking up to people kind of like you, of like a level of success, like somebody that's rich and famous or whatever. It's more of yeah I don't know, like I don't know.
We could change it. You could change it and say like, do you admire certain people? Then is maybe an easier.
I admire qualities of people.
Yeah,
like I admire my wife's patience, and her ability to care for people so much. Like kind of put herself. See, I'm more selfish. I'm more of a selfish person. Like obviously, I'd do anything for my immediate family. I put my wife, my son before me every time. But I'm just not that type of person. So like I can look at certain people, even your parents, right? They're very selfless people. I can look at those qualities and be like, damn, I wish I could be a little bit more like them. But I can't say I look at somebody as this being of like, man, I look up to this person. I want to be like this person. I just don't. When I was younger, absolutely. There were tons of those things, right? Athletes or actors or whatever. My dad, whatever. Now, no. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, like, I mean, I get where you're coming. I get where you're coming from. Like, I don't like, because it's not, you know, you get to an age after you've kind of been molded into your own person, and it does shift from looking at somebody in their entirety, you know, flaws and all, because when you're younger, sometimes the people you look up to, you don't see the flaws, because when you're younger, you're just seeing all the good stuff that you know, for whatever it is, which is why it's like kind of about the thing about don't meet your heroes.
Yeah, I think flaws are a good thing too, though. Like, you know, you can look at somebody and you see flaws in them, but that's what makes them
Well, everyone has
so
flaws.
likable, right?
Yeah.
Where it's just like, damn, this person really fucked up here, or this person struggled in this area, right? And then they've gotten, you know, better or clean. You know, there might be an addict, you know, that like, you know, on the outside, it might look like this terrible person that did this and did that. But if you look deeper, maybe they're 10 years clean, and there's somebody that looks up to them to, you know, to emulate their journey and what they've been, you know, there's different ways. Like I actually admire individuals that have fallen and have had hardships and then have gotten through it. I think that is more admirable and than just necessarily being good all the fucking time. Because that almost seems inhuman, right? There's only like 2 people in my life I know that have been good their entire life, and that's like, you know, Dan and Jan. Which, by the way, is Adam's parents. So,
Yeah.
you know, I don't really know too many people that, you know, and I'm sure, I
think Danny Boy's got a couple streaks in him from when he was younger.
I was about to say, I'm sure.
Mom,
if we sat
Mom,
down,
I don't think so, but Dad,
Dad maybe,
Dad
so,
maybe,
you know, but that's from what I've known, right, for over the last God knows how long, right? But yeah, I don't know too many people that got a smooth record the whole way through.
Yeah, it's sometimes it's kind of like sometimes it sucks when you get to that point too, though, because there's even if you're a very highly self-motivated individual, sometimes it's hard to constantly generate that, and sometimes it's nice to have sources of inspiration from other people. And so when you can't find that readily, it can be a pain in the ass, because then you get into like lulls where you're not improving yourself, you're just kind of there, and that can be a challenge. So trying to find people that you can find aspects of that you can appreciate or aspire to, take pieces of that on, or like fold their methodologies or their outlooks on things, etc. Into your own is important. It's something that it's something that I know my mom's always had, but I definitely didn't have enough of, and not that I would have thought about it until the pandemic, but an appreciation for more people than just the people that you would think of right off the top. Like in this pandemic, how many people doing how many jobs that you never think about that are like the underpinnings of like just everyday life. They're in the background, nobody ever thinks about them, but they're doing their job, and if you were to take them out of the cogs, shit falls apart. Like people doing like postal delivery or garbage collection or fucking janitorial services, grocery, like anything. You take those people out the game and shit goes tits up really quick. And so, you learn to appreciate people in different roles more, and appreciate their contributions more than perhaps you would have in the past. At least that's been my experience the last couple of years, as I've certainly changed my views on things. And, I've always had an appreciation for nurses and doctors, of course, but obviously that's another thing. You go through a pandemic and you watch what nurses go through during the pandemic, and you're like, Jesus. You talk about your wife, and before you two had Kai, and she was doing, long-term care stuff, and even without a pandemic, that takes a certain kind of person to do that on a daily basis. and it's something that like 99.9% of people just couldn't or wouldn't do. But if you took those people out, and thank God they exist, it would be awful. You'd have elderly people literally just incapable of taking care of themselves and like wandering the streets and just dying. like literally, it sounds extreme, but like you get dementia and shit. You take long-term care facilities and those workers out of the game and it's all over. So things like that, just appreciating people more and whatnot. But yeah, if you get rid of people in your life, and I don't mean like intentionally, but if you don't always have somebody to look up to in some way or aspire to or get inspired by, then yeah, that can be kind of a tread and water situation for sure. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, it's the end of another Technical Alpha podcast. Hopefully you enjoyed that one. Thank you so much. If you're listening, you want to keep this bad boy going, make sure to head on over to patreon.com/LagTV. And if you got a few extra dollars, that's a good place to put it. Keeps us going.
Yeah.
Keeps the lights on, etc., etc.
Yep.
Rate us if you can on iTunes or anywhere else that allows you to rate us. Spread the word. Let somebody else know about the podcast if you think they might enjoy themselves here. And until next week, guys, thank you once again for stopping by. And until then, stay safe out there. Peace.
Peace.